I can't be the only one who likes Smit of AZ Alkmaar. Very talented player. You've seen him win the Youth League with AZ Alkmaar. You've seen him win the Under 19s European Championship 2025 with his native club Holland. And I think if you don't know about him, sooner rather than later, he'll announce himself to every football fan in the times to go. And I actually would have love him to sign for Arsenal Football Club. Those of you that are on my channel, you know how much I want a central midfielder. I'm no scout, just an armchair expert, but allow me to humor you. Let's dig in. For me, I think he could be an all-action midfielder. I think he could contribute in all phases of play. I think he could be a 6, an 8, a 10, and an 8.5, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I think Arsenal need an 8, if I'm honest with you. Happy with Declan Rice. But let's face it, if anything happens to Rice and Zubamendi, we're in trouble. Of course, there's a lot of players that can occupy these roles. And, I do think in the modern day, I just every midfielder is contributing in all phases of play. There's times Zubamendi is the highest midfielder. There's times Rice is the deepest of midfielders. There's times where you throw Odegaard in and you can see how it all kind of fluctuates people. So I don't want to get hung up on that. At this moment in time, his strengths undoubtedly are more in the attacking third. But we'll get onto that in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also let me know your thoughts on this individual if you've got some prior people. He's a highly promising 19-year-old Dutch midfielder, currently playing for Eredivisie club AZ Alkmaar. Some of you are sold on the fact that he's a Dutch midfielder. I get it, people. Stands at 6'1", right-footed, can play in central midfield and a bunch of roles in that. Probably seen as a strong candidate to make his full international debut in the near to distant future. You would have seen he's been on the scene for a while, people, with AZ Alkmaar's under 19s, people, in the youth league. He was part of a team that beat Barcelona, Real Madrid in consecutive rounds to reach the semi-finals in 2023, people. And some of you lot will remember the strike he had against Barcelona in that same phase. When they got to the final, they also won. It's not just him. That group was very talented. Poku, I believe, has been sold by AZ Alkmaar. He played for Holland during the 2025 summer in the European Championships, as I've said, people, which they won for the first time. He was also named player of the tournament. Last year, he actually made his Europa League debut in November, people, against Fenerbahce. He scored the second goal and actually got an assist for the third, people. He also played in the KNVB Cup as AZ lost to goal-ahead Eagles on penalties, people. So he's got a pedigree. In the Conference League this season, he's played 3 appearances. He's actually played against Spurs. So anyone that can play against Spurs and cope well, which he did do all right in that game, is a friend of mine, people. I think he's quality. Last year, AZ Alkmaar did extend his contract, people. He is under contract until 2028. And he's developing a reputation for his long-range shooting, his creativity, his passing range, lovely passing range. He always wants the ball under pressure, and ultimately the maturity he displays beyond his years. He's very versatile. He's very dynamic. He's got a long way to go to be mentioned with these names, but naturally, owing to his technical elegance, he's drawing comparisons with Frankie de Jong, with Luka Modric. That's actually quite good. He's got an ability to influence games across all phases. He's got lovely vision. His profile is built on intelligence and creativity. We're going to go and delve in this in the video, but defensively and physically, he could improve. He excels in a possession-based system, which obviously Arsenal have, people. He provides a progressive threat and also contributes to the build-up play. He represents the kind of profile that Arsenal would love. Technically gifted, scope to grow and mold and teach good habits. And I genuinely think, he is of the same mold of a Frankie de Jong, of a Pedri. I'll be very surprised if one day he doesn't play for one of the big giants in Spain, namely Real Madrid or Barcelona, people. And where you look at our current setup, as we've discussed, you've got Declan Rice, you've got Odegaard, you've got Zubamendi. He could provide a good other option to have as we look to mount a sustained title challenge and win a number of trophies for years to come. The eye test is one thing, but sometimes it doesn't tell the story. And I think when you merge and mesh together the eye test with the statistics, you can see why everybody and a number of clubs are going to be circling around him. How he hasn't been given a Dutch cap yet, I don't know. By the end of the season, that has to have been done. He probably will be a wild card for the Dutch national team. And Jurien Timber, I'm sure you're in touch with everything going on in Holland. You need to get this man to the Emirates, people, if I'm honest with you. Attacking / goal threat. Owing to his years, he's probably more known for what he could do in the final third versus the middle third and the defensive third. I genuinely believe he could be a complete midfielder. His attacking slash goal threat reflects that he's very strong. When you look at non-penalty goals, he's in the 62nd percentile, which shows it's decent but not elite yet. When you look at expected goals from non-penalties, he's in the 77th percentile. For shots, he's in the 79th percentile. For expected assists, he's in the 89th percentile. For non-penalty XG plus XG in terms of assists, 95th percentile. Shot creating actions, also the 95th percentile, which shows he constantly creates chances and is excellent at doing such. And again, people, it shows he's at present a serious attacking minded midfielder, gets into shooting positions, creates high quality chances, contributes to goals and assists for his age at an elite level, and also in that regards to his positioning. Passes attempted, solid volume, 66th percentile. Passes completed, extremely accurate, 77th percentile. Progressive passes, 78th percentile. Progressive carries, 91st percentile. Top tier ball carrying. Half of his highlights that you've probably seen in this video, and if you type on YouTube or just watch him in the Dutch league or the Conference League, or looked at him in the Europa League, or contributing at youth level with AZ Alkmaar where they won the youth league, or also the recent under 19s, apologies, 2025 championship, it shows that he's great at that kind of stuff. Successful take-ons, people, 88th percentile. Good dribbler. Touches in the attacking penalty area, 78th percentile. You look at, I would predict in the short term, he would be more akin to a Declan Rice with scope to do Zubamendi. So you get what I mean? He could be like a combination thing of both. Progressive passes received, 78th percentile. Touches in the attacking penalty area, once again, if I haven't made clear, 78th percentile. And again, the takeaway would be, this is the sort of area he thrives and shines the most. He's comfortable on the ball, beats his players in tight spaces, comfortable in the half spaces, extremely progressive, and is able to carry the ball forward efficiently and effectively. And again, I think he's got a long way to go, but this is exactly why people compare him stylistically to a Pedri or a Frankie de Jong. You look at the defensive actions, admittedly, they are average to below average. Again, he's 19. It's not going to be finished yet. He's in the middle of the pack for tackles. He's in the 48th percentile. Interceptions, 31st percentile. Blocks, 34th percentile. Clearances, 27th percentile. Aerial duels or aerials, 11th percentile. He's not an attacking specialist yet, which is typically for someone that is young and is probably a more attacking minded midfielder. He can do the basics, but clearly his strengths at current and in general lie in possession and attacking rather than winning the ball back high up the field, in which you can learn those things, and you're going to need to do that regardless of whatever club you go to, people. It shows he's a modern attacking minded midfielder, excels at progressing the ball once again, contributing directly to goals, creating chances. His elite percentiles in progressive carries, shot creating actions, amongst others, show he's one of the most dangerous and most creative young midfielders on the planet, but at the moment in Europe, people. Defensive numbers are weak, but that's expected for a 19-year-old who is still developing physically and tactically, people. You know, you look at the under-19s championship where he won the MVP, he often played as an 8 or even slightly higher up the field. So these statistics kind of correlate with that. But there's no way you can listen to this and see this and not agree with me. Let me know in the comments that this screams big club potential, high attacking output, extremely excellent technical quality, and most importantly, room to grow across all aspects, mainly defensively. And this is why you're seeing several of Europe's elite and Spurs all looking at him, people. And there's a reason he's one of Europe's most coveted talents, in my opinion. Kess Smit is a great fit for Arsenal in midfield. Now, I've been discussing a lot of things, but why don't we compare him naturally to a Declan Rice and a Zubamendi? We all know our current setup. We've got a double pivot of Declan Rice and Zubamendi, with Odegaard slightly higher up. And where you look at Smith's progressive passing, press resistance, versatility, he could slot in as a rotationary centre mid, people, in the short term, with scope to be a future number 6 or 8 hybrid. He would bring dynamism and obviously his own creativity without necessarily disrupting the balance. You look at his valuation of 20 to 25 million euros. Of course, AZ are going to ask for a lot more. But if we take that for gospel, or assume that that would be somewhat of a round park figure, give or take, let's say 50 million euros, in fact, it could in the modern day present a valuation and a player that's essentially low risk, people, with obviously iron building for the future. Naturally, he's raw defensively and probably at current immediately lacks a physical edge for the intensity of the Premier League, which kind of doesn't go anywhere if you compare that to Zubamendi currently. Areas where Rice and Zubamendi excel in a possession heavy system like Arsenal's, naturally Smit would thrive. He'd thrive long term, but might need a 6 to 12 months to fully adapt and show greater consistency, people. You could say that. It's not the same, but think about how Rice evolved from playing as a 6 to an 8, people. You look at Arsenal's interest in a number of players, Kylian Yildiz, for example, of Juventus. We're clearly looking at players that have an eye on the future, players that can help us in the short, medium, and long term, people. And I think this guy's got the raw foundations and the raw pedigree to not only be a great footballer in football in general, but crucially be it for Arsenal Football Club. So naturally, he's potentially a strong squad fit with potential to be a starter by the earliest of next season, 2026, 2027, especially if we're now going to shift our focus and prioritize youth players with an upsell value over the more pricey ready-made players as we've been doing already. Now, again, let's keep up with comparing this individual to currently Declan Rice and Zubamendi. Smit draws early comparisons to both. You could argue his vision is reminiscent of Zubamendi's, and his current carrying abilities reminds you in many ways of Declan Rice. He's got an ability to drive the ball further up the field, and he's fantastic within the pockets. He's more at current attack orientated, with clearly defensive growth needed in our system, people. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know. Declan Rice, in terms of all phases of play, is the most complete. Zubamendi is more of a metronomic deep lying playmaker. Where you look at the data and statistics available for this season so far, and again, you have to quantify it because there's different variables around how we get to this, which take with a pinch of salt. But if we use a metric per 90 and we look at progressive passes, specifically, Smit is in the 85th percentile. Declan Rice is in the 92nd percentile. Zubamendi is in the 88th percentile. For successful take-on, Smit, something he excels at, is in the 78th percentile. Rice is in the 65th percentile. And Zubamendi is in the 55th percentile. For tackles and interceptions, there's a landslide, I must admit. And again, defensively, there's improvements to be made. Smit only ranks in the 45th percentile. While you look at Declan Rice, he's 95th percentile and Zubamendi's in the 90th. Where you look at aerial duels, Rice has 88th percentile. Zubamendi's in the 65th percentile, while Smit is only in the 40th percentile. Progressive passes completed, passes completed. He's in the 82nd percentile. Rice is in the 95th percentile, and Zubamendi's in the 97th. Of course, the roles they play in, the teams they play in, the dynamics of how opposition set up in the Premier League versus AZ Alkmaar could play a key part in how we've got here. But on the ball, he's not far away. Off the ball, for a 19-year-old, you expect him to be behind the experienced Zubamendi and Rice, which shows us the point that there's something there. Where you look at key passes, in brackets, chances created, he's in the 75th percentile. Rice is in the 70th percentile. Bearing in mind, Rice plays in the 8. Zubamendi's in the 60th percentile. Pressures regained, he's in the 70th percentile versus Declan Rice, who's in the 85th, and Zubamendi, who is in the 82nd. Goals and assists, which is a key part of midfield in today's day and age, he's in the 85th percentile. Declan Rice is in the 75th percentile, while Zubamendi goals are not his strong point. He's in the 55th percentile. So the key takeaways would be synergy. You look at Rice and Zubamendi's pivot, Smit could provide a rotationary option / depth and push not just him, but Odegaard for a first team spot. And it would boost our squad's resilience. It reflects, despite the fact he's 19, he is mature beyond his ages, people. But he would obviously need a bit of mentoring and tuition to hit Rice and Zubamendi levels, as a minimum or beyond that. If we miss out on more pricier targets, whoever they are, he could prove to be a rising asset, which would be a steal immediately, in my opinion. But many casual fans will see it within the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, you do look at AZ Alkmaar, people. They do have press-breaking glimpses. He's ready for Premier League football technically, maybe not ready for the hustle and bustle robustly, which isn't something that's necessarily going to just be reliant on him. Clearly, Arsenal have an eye on the future. We want players that can impact in the short, medium, and long term. Win stuff with us, carry resale value, and allow us to have long-term players. I believe when you look at Arsenal's average squad age, it is 25. So give or take, some are a bit older, some are a bit younger. We've got young developing players that are talented with scope to be top quality players in the future. And obviously, Smit would be of that fold. I mean, he's one of Europe's most coveted young talents. You could see why, again, all of the top teams are interested. Allegedly, AZ are open to his sale after this season's over. You'd imagine, whatever fee they get, it will surpass the one that they received when they sold Rangers to AC Milan, who is now obviously at Manchester City. He's expressed eagerness to test himself at an elite level and hasn't shied away from his ambitions of wanting to play for the Real Madrids and all of those kind of those kind of clubs. So it makes sense for us to go and get him. Overall, he'd be a strong squad fit with starter potential. Simple as that. And he would be available for anything from 30 to 40 to just over and north of 50 odd million. But I promise you one thing, Arsenal fans, that will look like peanuts regardless of what he does in the future. He's obviously at present date got no notable injury history, which is obviously amazing for us. In short, if you're a fan of AZ or Dutch football or your youth talent or developing talents, keep an eye on him. He's going to be achieving good things in the future. And anybody that's seen him tips him for good things. Smash the like button, subscribe. I'm out.